in our context, how we decided to use SEF is that we didn't have projects that we were running and then plugged people into SEF. Because we support micro enterprises, and if you understand, if you give a spaza shop 500, if you give someone 500 rand and say, go start a spaza shop, and you give someone else 5,000 rand and say, go start a spaza shop, definitely the guy you gave 5,000 rand to is going to have a much better runway in terms of being able to get to some kind of a business that actually works. And now in our space, we find that a lot of people start things. Sometimes they bootstrap, sometimes they might get a bit of funding from somebody who says, no, let's take a lean approach and then prove yourself. And sometimes that lean approach is so lean that you're actually setting somebody up for failure. And so then the operational costs are really what make a lot of small businesses not move. So how we then decided to apply SEF was to allow our teams who are either beneficiating the biomass or the ECDs to bolster up their teams by getting people who are not working and employ those people so that production can be faster, so that if you're running an ECD, anyone who knows a township ECD, the owner is usually cooking, teaching, sweeping, and doing everything, and maybe one or two other people are supporting them. So we then allowed people that we already support to be able to bolster up their teams and then have these people work towards those things that will make them sustainable after SEF has ended. So what we then found is that people would then use the additional children that they're able to get now that they are additional teachers, the money saved, and you have reports of people having built additional classrooms. You have another guy in Cosmos City who went and actually started a vegetable garden because now he had this extra set of hands. That garden is growing chilies that he's now selling to Nando's in that area. So that's how we were able to work the sustainability angle, is to actually support the institution that is housing the people to actually contribute towards those things that make them financially sustainable. And that's how they then are able to, even beyond SEF, when those people are now no longer being paid by the IDC, are able to retain some of these people because they can pay them out of pocket because they've invested in those things that will be able to make them to earn more money. At the level of the entrepreneurs, now one of the key things we found, there's one village in Limpopo, we have about 20, we recruited 25 entrepreneurs, we have about 23 left. They are thinning bush. There's a lot of siekkelbos in that area, and it's overgrown, so as a result, the livestock, which is already very crowded for the area, has no grazing land. It just cannot navigate the fields. So these guys are thinning and restoring the land and then beneficiating that biomass. Now in that area, we use the same approach, and the chief said, it's so great. In fact, the chief's wife said, our people are no longer looking mpunga. If you know what the word mpunga means, it means they're not looking dusty anymore. But the problem is that the taverns are booming. Right? And that's a problem, right? And so we knew that because we already offer financial education through other partners who are already funding other programs that are doing financial education and financial literacy, we then are able to offer that to those communities because we understand that, you can earn a lot of money, but if you don't know how to use your money, you're never going to get anywhere. And we know that that's a massive, massive problem in our country. It's almost like not a nice to have every single human being go through some kind of training in how to use their money effectively. And so that's also at the level of the individual, how we then support people to use their money well so that they can be able to do the things that will actually make their families and their communities prosper. So that's how we've been able to address this issue of sustainability, because SEF runs for 10 months at a time. And so you cannot solely rely on that. Otherwise, you'll have people excited and then back to square one. And for us, we felt that addressing it at the level of the hosting institutions is how you'll be able to get sustainability. And then there was another question directed directly at me around the political smog.
Yes.
So it's political smog in some areas. If you go to a labor sending area for the mines, for example, that's the smog that you deal with.
Sure.
So at every level, there's always going to be various elements that create smog. What we found very valuable is investing in creating the relationships with the right stakeholders in that area.
Sure.
So from the level of the community, right up until the chiefs, and the ward councillors and everybody else who's got some kind of influence. Sometimes it delays programming, and funders are unhappy with you because you said this would take 3 months, but it's taking longer because now they're sending you there and there.
Yeah.
But if you don't invest in that when you go and work in areas, particularly rural areas, then your projects will always suffer the risk of not being sustainable.